Hello, and welcome to the Resilient Lineage podcast, where we reflect on the past, anticipate the future, and discover what God is up to today. My name is Olivia.
And I'm Milo.
And today is like your game.
Yeah, I laid out this episode because we're going to talk about the warrior ethos.
Yes.
And if you haven't listened to
any of our warrior toughness episodes,
stuff, like we did a warrior mindset series, 5 episodes with that. This actually is one I would do. Like it pairs well with that this stuff. Yeah. And so in fact, this arguably could say this should be like, listen to episode 85, and then this would be like 85.1 or 0.5. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then 86 because it's
it ties it in really
well.
We're
talking about the warrior ethos. What is an ethos? What's the value of an ethos? Why should we have an articulated ethos?
Yeah.
I was thinking as you were praying, you ever have like, as you're praying, all of a sudden you'll get a thought about something? Like
random?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
like from God.
So we pray before each episode. I don't know if it's from the Lord, but we were praying and I had this thought of like, how many, because we're talking about a warrior ethos, and you have an ethos because of the impact you're going to have on others, right? Because there's some measure of a positive impact you could have on other people. And I thought the question, I wonder how many people are impacted by the average person. Like over the course of their life, how many people do you think are impacted? And I looked it up.
They do a statistic for that?
Yeah.
Oh.
So sociologists would say, what would be your guess? How many people are impacted by the average person?
But it could be impacted like both good and bad. Right?
Yeah, like there's a deep impact you've had on a person's life. So over the course of your life, how many people do you think that would be for the average person?
2,000.
2,000? More.
4,000?
More.
7,000?
More.
10,000?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's on the low end. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but like, could impact also be like you going through the fast food drive-through?
No. This is a deep impact. Like, I'll read it to you. So it says, core estimates suggest 10,000 as the lower average for deep influence, often referencing sociologist studies found that focused on verbal, nonverbal, and relational context with measurable effect. So it's not like casual influence. It's like you're having a significant influence on someone's life. That's pretty significant if you think about it. And so we're talking about this ethos because one of the things that I think happens in our lives is if we do not define what we are about, or we do not allow the Lord to clearly define what we are about, and we articulate that, then somebody's going to define that for us. So, which then means we become indentured to their opinions, their ideas. Does this make sense? So I need to kind of go, okay, in light of who I am, the experiences I've had in life, how I've been gifted, what talents I have, my personality type, where I sense the Lord is leading me with my life. In light of all of that, what am I going to be about? What is going to be the focus of my life? I don't think most people do that.
No.
And so, and some people they'll put this within the context of a purpose statement for their life, or a mission statement, or a vision statement for their life, which I think is good. But this is this is a different type of thing. It's similar. In fact, maybe some of these are semantics when it comes to those things. But when you think of a warrior ethos, when you think of a warrior, you automatically assume this is a person. Like if you think of a warrior, what does that imply?
A lot of things that I'm like, that's not a girly thing.
Okay, it's not a girly thing.
It's like very tough. You have to be confident. You have to have clear convictions. You have to have a level of boldness and courage and just like uprightness.
Yeah.
That, you try to be those things. And it's just kind of like, this is very intense. And I think a lot of people don't know what to do with intensity. Or I don't think a lot of people even know what to do with intense people.
Yeah.
And I think some people can like identify some people that are like, oh, yeah, I know someone just like that. And they have an impact on you, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of like
I think the minute someone has to think about themselves as a warrior, it comes with a lot of expectations, which you just mentioned.
Yeah, but we were talking about it when we were saying about like the Warrior Toughness series, which you should check out. Like the word warrior sounds kind of hokey.
Oh.
So like I think there's one side where it sounds super tough and like very manly. I don't know like if that's...
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it is manly. It just feels manly.
Leans more masculine.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning for. I love my girls that are on the, war front and sticking it up, but yeah.
But I think it is that because we think of automatically when you think of a warrior, think of somebody who's pressing into conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're willing to go.
They're not afraid.
Well, I don't know about that.
Or they don't live out of fear.
They don't make their decisions because of fear.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you can be afraid. Mm-hmm. I think there's a distinction between being
afraid. But you
afraid
don't
and fear.
let that override your convictions.
And that's where the ethos comes in, right? So that, it's like, okay, well, why are you guys talking about this? How is this? I thought, how is this related to faith? Because, okay, so I did this lecture. There's more notes here. I did a training on the warrior ethos this last week. And I told everybody that this episode was coming out.
Yeah.
And so here it is. So I said, hey, if you want to hear this through the kind of a Judeo-Christian lens, we're going to go into that. Mm-hmm. And again, if you go back and listen particularly to the episode 85, we lay out all of the reasons why Christians should be thinking like warriors. So I'm not going to relitigate that. Mm-hmm. But in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 12, Paul is writing a young minister. He's writing a young man who's pastoring this church. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did I say something?
No.
Oh, okay. He's writing Timothy. Yeah. And he says this, he says, fight the good fight of faith, take hold of the eternal life to which you were called, and about which you made the good confession in the presence of many witnesses. This is fighting language, right? It's actually, contend for the faith. Some people actually say that this is less militaristic and more like boxing language that Paul is using for Timothy. Like you're in the ring, and the only reason why somebody gets in the ring is to contend. There is to fight. And so this idea then of being like a warrior is, if I assume that mentality, then there's a bunch of stuff in my life that I can't hang on to, that it cannot be central to my life, right? You can't pursue a life of comfort. You can't pursue a life of pleasure. You can't pursue a life of indulgence. You can't, what was all? Oh, that was a fridge. I don't know if you heard that, but our refrigerator drops ice, and we just heard it.
Sounds like anyway.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think this is where it kind of rubs against where we're at culturally. And I would even argue within the life of the church. Like if you have a health, wealth, prosperity type gospel that says God is always kind of wants to...
If you follow God, you'll get everything you've ever desired.
Yeah, it'll, he'll lavish his abundance upon you. And usually we think about that in the context of life is going to be pretty cush. And it's like, no, he will lavish upon you everything you need to be victorious spiritually.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a difference between, and it's not to say that we can't enjoy pleasurable or comfortable things, but to what end?
Yeah.
For the purposes of resting and recouping, to be in the fight, to contend for the faith, to see that his kingdom come and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, so I put all this together. I gave you a little bit of time to think through it. And so I'm going to let you set the pace for this.
The pace?
Yeah.
Do you want me to get into the impact?
Do you want to start looking at this? Well, do we need to, where are we at here? No, let's talk about what an ethos is. Because you were even asking about
Yeah,
because
it's like, you hear ethos, pathos, and logos. And I'm like, so we're talking about ethos. And we were discussing this before. And so logos is kind of like the values and the beliefs that we can adopt. Like these are things that are open to us, the truths that are before us. Ethos is taking those truths and then clearly applying that and like writing it out in our lives and strategically ordering our life so that we can execute that. And then pathos is the practice of doing said thing. So it's like this order.
Yeah, maybe they all inform each other.
Yeah, they all complement one another, and you can't have one without the other. Yeah. But ethos, we really want to just like lay this episode out so that you guys can like clearly understand what your next step needs to be, or adopting like healthy habits. And basically, that's what ethos is habits. Yeah, that's the Latin word.
And we've got there's a downloadable PDF you can get.
Check it out, guys.
Walk through like articulating your own warrior ethos. And what I'm offering to our listeners for a period of time is if you walk through this process and you want somebody to kind of look over it with you and provide feedback, I welcome the opportunity to do that. I've sat down with over 500 people who have done their warrior ethos and looked at it with them, helped them discern, are they being as clear as they mean to be? Is this something that is going to serve them well? So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in doing the warrior ethos and then kind of being coached and getting some feedback on how effective it is, all you have to do is email us, hello@thisresilientsoul.com, or you can message me on Facebook or Instagram. And we'll line up a time, about a 15-minute, 20-minute like consult, right, as it were. And we'll do a Zoom meeting and we'll talk through this. Yeah. So if that's something you're interested in, reach out. If you're not signed up for the newsletter, do that. Like there's all this stuff, right? All the social media stuff. Like do all that stuff because then you'll be able to kind of stay up to date with what we got going on. We're going to talk more about that at the end like we usually do.
Yes.
Okay, so ethos is Latin for habit, right? It's a Latin word. It means habit. In fact, the word ethos and ethic, right? So if ethos is the sort of like this is what I need to be about, then the ethic is the
putting it
like
into application.
It's the character required to live that ethos. Does that make sense? So ethos and ethic, they're very much related. It's the set of moral habits that shape a person's character and life. And it bridges the gap, kind of what you were talking about, pathos, right? It bridges the gap between belief and action and how we live this out. Okay.
Yeah. I'll read the thesis.
Keep going.
An ethos defines the priorities and the driving convictions that stabilize us amid chaos. Despite anything, these are the things that anchor us down. It is the internal code that allows a warrior to act decisively.
Yeah.
And it's not out of decisions that are made in the moment or spontaneity. It's living in down of what's the truth, what does the word say, what do I know is right, and regardless of what's going around.
Yeah, because is life going to get chaotic from time to time? And you may be in a season where things are rather chaotic.
Yeah.
And I've seen folks that's when they want to figure out when their ethos is, which is not the best time to figure that out. Now, I'm not saying you can't, as much as it is. It's very disorienting, right? When you're going through a storm of life, that's not when you want to be thinking about, I should have done all this maintenance. I should have, kind of made sure that I was on the right course. Get through the storm, right? And then sit down and kind of go, okay, what did I learn through all of that? How do I need to map this out? Because I think the thing that I consistently see with folks is that they, it's sort of one of those, when things are not chaotic is when you don't think about the value of these things. It's when things that are chaotic that we go, man, I'm really glad I prepared for this. Or, I should have prepared for this, which this even goes back to all the warrior mind stuff. Again, listen to those episodes if you haven't had a chance to listen to that, where we talk about the warrior mindset and how that facilitates this sort of way of thinking. In fact, if you listen to the first episode 85, where we talk about the mindset in general and why we should have this as believers, And then we talk about what we are committing ourselves to. Your warrior ethos in a lot of ways is this is what I'm committing myself to. These are the beliefs, these are the values, this is how I'm going to see myself. This is where I'm going with my life. These are the important relationships. This is how I'm going to sort of structure things as my, sort of, this is my destination. This is what my life is going to be about. Okay. Yeah. Now, how can we think about this? What's a helpful model?
Image.
Yeah.
Yeah. A tree.
And so one way to think about this is your fruit, the fruit of your life, right? How fruitful are you? Jesus talks about this.
Yes,
I am the vine, you are the branches, right? He who abides in me and I in him will bear much fruit, right? That if I'm rooted and grounded in Christ, I will bear fruit. There will be good fruit in my life. Now, that's usually what we see in each other's lives. So if you meet somebody, we meet the fruit of their lives. And that's usually what we enjoy or don't enjoy about somebody. It's the fruit of it. It's the
things we're exposed to.
Yeah, it's the quote unquote performance of their life, right? It's the product that their life produces. And so when you meet somebody that's got a crummy attitude, it's like biting into something you thought was going to be sweet. It ends up being bitter, right? It's like, oh, why am I getting this today? Yeah. It's those things in the quality, sort of like the quality of our life is demonstrated by our fruitfulness. Now, I think it's safe to say everybody wants to live a fruitful life. Yeah. Would you say that?
I think so.
Your ethos defines what that means. How are you going to know you're living a fruitful life? Yeah. And now I think there's a general kind of umbrella way of understanding it as it relates to us as believers. But I think like we can nuance that specifically to who we are as individuals. And I think like I'm older than you. I'm established in life.
So much older
than you. I have a sense of who I am. Do you have that? Or are you learning that?
I feel like I'm learning that.
Yeah. And I think that's normal. I think generally speaking, the youngest I've ever seen that where somebody knew exactly who they were was probably in their like 26, 27 years old.
And I think it's also just because like I haven't like been exposed to like a more adult things.
Like responsibilities
like mortgages and homes and like more
children
car stuff and children. Yeah. So I feel like I'm kind of figuring out how to live my life on my own.
Yeah.
Away from you guys. That's what I'm learning. And like establishing what I need to be doing. Yeah. Away from you guys.
I think that's a progression for most folks. And I think if it's done, there's a healthy way to go about doing that. Yeah. Right. I like genuinely, I don't think I really understood who I was or what I needed to be about until I was probably in my mid-30s. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm not good at. A lot of it is knowing what you're not good at. Yeah. Knowing that, hey, it's just not worth, I don't have a passion or an interest or a sense of clarity that I need to be about those things. Like this is what I'm good at. These are my gifts. These are my talents. This is how I connect well with people. And I think sometimes like I remember realizing that I'm not going to be the guy who ever pastors a 2,000 person church. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not that guy. The way I'm wired and the way I like to explore ideas and push the boundaries and things like that is just generally not going to get that big of a crowd. Yeah. Now I'm a great second chair guy for a 2,000 person church. That's what I've learned. Right. I'm really good at kind of forecasting and thinking ahead and pushing the boundaries and figuring out where our systems are weak. That's what I'm really, really good at. But it kind of bummed me out when I realized, I'm not going to be that guy. And I think that's part of this process is going, okay, well, what is the fruit that the Lord wants to produce in my life? Not what's the fruit I wish I had that somebody else has. Yeah. Does that make sense? Okay, so where does all of that begin?
The roots.
The roots.
And the roots are where your beliefs and your values are. These are the things that help grow you
Yeah.
and define. These are
They
what
anchor
feed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the deeper those roots,
the stronger your tree.
the stronger you are to navigate the storms, right? The more, it's like, I remember when I was a kid, we had this big backyard. We lived in Gladstone, Oregon, and it seemed like a huge backyard. Of course, when you're a kid, everything's big, huge. You know? But we had this big backyard, and there was this fence that we had, and there was like all these blackberries and things like that. And then right on the other side of that fence was like this marshy area. Now we had these massive trees. This is Oregon, so we got the big pine trees, right? And one night we had a pretty significant storm come through the area. Lots of rain, lots of strong winds, which is kind of uncommon for that area. It's not to say it never happened, but it's like we live on the coast now, so on the East Coast, and so we know what it's like to kind of go through hurricanes and things like that. We didn't get that kind of thing where we lived in Oregon, but it was like strong winds one night, lots of rain. Okay, so and it rained for several days. Because it rained for several days, none of us went into the backyard. Because why?
Right.
And then one day I went into the backyard after school because it had stopped raining, and I get back there and I was like, whoa! And this massive pine tree had fallen into our yard, and probably was. I mean, as a kid, I remember it being like 6 to 10 feet away from hitting the house. Like it was pretty close. Well, the tip of the tree. Yeah. Right. So it wouldn't have done that much damage, but it was like significant. Here's this massive tree, which as a kid, all of a sudden this became a thing to climb on and build forts in and all kinds of things.
It's like, don't get rid of it.
Yeah. This is fun. This is like a massive new playground set in the backyard.
Yeah. Look, I'll live out here.
Yeah. And what was fascinating is the tree fell because where it was at, it was so marshy, the root system did not have to go deep.
For it to get all the water and all the nutrients.
Yeah. So when a gale force wind came through, it was, it could only withstand so much before it collapsed.
Yeah.
So the idea is that we want that root system to go super deep. And I think as believers, this is one of the things that is offered to us as Christians. Like our belief system is not a shallow thing.
Yeah.
It is something that has been tested for thousands of years by people that have been through, that have been tortured, that have been isolated, that have gone through times of prosperity, that have gone through times of trial. Do you know what I mean? Like our belief system, our value system is so rich and so deep that as I grow, I get to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Like the things I'm learning today, like just continually expose like how much more I need to learn.
Yeah.
So that root system then is the thing that sort of anchors us. It grounds us so that we can live the fruitful life.
That's good. Yeah.
All right, next
is your trunk. This is like what everything is. If the roots is what grounds you, the tree is like what is stabilizing you.
Yeah.
And so this is your convictions that provide stability and live a life of boldness. That no matter the season, it's in the same spot.
Yeah.
It stays firm. Your fruits, will come and go. Like you're going to walk through seasons.
They will be seasonal.
Yes.
Yeah,
and you will like fall. But like the only thing that doesn't change is the way it looks and the way it's structured and the way it is.
And that'll grow.
And that will grow.
Right. Like a tree. Mm-hmm. Every year you get a new ring, right? It'll get a little bit wider, a little base, a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And I think, and there's a whole sermon we did this on like living with a life of conviction, right? There's a lot of this stuff in a lot of our episodes because I've been living with these thoughts for quite a while.
Yeah.
But our convictions or the things I've become convinced of, like my beliefs and values produce those convictions. Like this is what's true. I believe that if I am, to whom much is given, much will be required. So I need to practice wise stewardship. I believe that, it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like these are my convictions. Like I've become convinced that these truths should operate within my life. I'm convinced that, our 4 practices as a family, connect, equip, worship, serve, that we need to be in community, that we need to be always learning, that we need to be living a life of worship and awe of God, and that we need to be in service towards those that are around us. Like there's these are the convictions we live by.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got our root system, which is our beliefs and values, our like trunk system, which is our convictions.
And then our branches is our decisive living that produces confidence that doesn't hesitate in critical moments. Yeah. These are our areas that we can measure growth, stability, like 1 year gets like 1 year bigger, but you'll get multiple branches throughout the year. And these are the things that provide our wings for us to act on.
Yeah.
Because our fruit, will then be our actions.
Yeah. And if a branch doesn't produce fruit, what should we do?
Cut it down. Or like
cut
trim.
It away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cut it away. Right.
It took me a minute. I was just like, I know this. I know this.
I mean, Jesus talks about that. If a branch does not bear fruit, it's cut away. Right.
And
so I think it's, well, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, I've been, reading through the book of Matthew on a personal note to just like walk slowly through it. I usually do this. I try this every year and then I fail, where it's like, I'm going to just go so in depth and I'm going to get my notes and we're going to like do hours at a time through each chapter. And then you get to like chapter 8 and then you're like, screw this. I'm going to like read 5 chapters a day and then read Matthew for the year. So I've been like walking slowly and like throughout the Sermon on the Mount, like it gets to this part where it talks about like a good tree does not bear bad fruit and a bad tree does not bear good fruit. And the voices that you listen to and those like who have a deep impact on you, like a spiritual impact, like you need to measure them by their fruits and you need to make sure that they're in a place to give you like the right truths in the right places. And after that, then it gets into like Jesus talking about anger and Jesus talking about lust and Jesus talking about fasting and Jesus talking like these very specific things that, it's like I shouldn't be angry, but anger leads to murder. So Jesus is so concerned with if these roots, right? These roots are lust and these roots are anger and these roots are pride and envy. That's what drives the rest of the tree, or where your roots are at.
Well, and I would, with that passage in mind, what I would say is, like those are the decisions I'm making, right? And we've talked about this in the podcast. Like, is anger in itself wrong? No.
But there's a right way to.
But am I angry about the things the Lord has asked me to be angry about? Am I practicing grace in the areas the Lord has asked me to practice grace, right? So there's this, lust is wrong, but sexual desire is not wrong, right? So sexual desire, aimed in the direction that the Lord clearly articulates it should be aimed is the thing that lust wants to ruin, right? And I think this is where, like, living a decisive life, or thinking about those branches, it's looking at, okay, if I'm making decisions that are not bearing the fruit or bearing any fruit, I need to start making different decisions.
And not like cover it up and be like, oh, I'll just pick those ones off so it like looks okay.
Yeah.
it's like, no, you need to like brutally cut that.
Yeah, like me being on my phone just before I go to bed is not that does not lead to healthy decisions. Okay, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Right? Wow, it's really hard. Well, yeah.
Jesus says that, it's like if your right hand causes you to stumble, just cut it off. And people are like, whoa, we can.
Right? But I mean, and Jesus' whole point is like he's elevating the seriousness of sin. Like this is stuff that is detrimental to us. And I think sometimes it's easy to focus on this sinful stuff, right? Like lust and murder and all. Got it. Like, obviously, I hope it goes without saying, like, that there's a baseline of wrong that should not be in our lives. I think, however, where a lot of people live their lives is we look at those things and go like, yeah, those things are wrong. Don't do them. Okay, I'm not doing them. But am I living wisely?
Yeah.
And I think the ethos, putting together an ethos, says this is how I want to wisely live my life. And I'm going to think through this in a way. We're going to there's a process we're going to encourage you to walk through. Yeah. Like I said, the PDF to kind of walk through this process that I can do this in a reasonable way. So, and again, an ethos is not an emotional response to something. right? It's rooted in beliefs and values. That's where it's grounding itself and going, okay, in light of that, then I believe if I set myself in this sort of intentional order, the fruit will take care of itself. I don't have to produce good fruit. It's like Jesus said, if you abide in me, if that's where you're rooted and grounded, if you order your belief and value system in me, guess what's going to end up happening?
I'll abide in you.
I'll abide in you. And what's the byproduct?
You'll bear good fruit.
Yeah, the fruit is just a sign.
Yeah.
I don't have to try to do it. It will just end up
naturally.
happening. Yeah. So, when you think about living your way in a manner that you're able to navigate life storms, that you're able to be the person you're supposed to be when chaos hits, you're able to navigate disappointment and trials and griefs and sorrows and abundance and celebration. You're able to still be the person you're supposed to be, is because you're grounded in a manner that is healthy and good. Yeah. Okay, so I feel like we've driven that into the ground. Okay, so if you don't like the fruit, you got to fix the root.
Did you come up with that?
No, probably not.
Okay.
But it sounds pretty good, right?
Yeah, you put that in there like in the old show notes, and I was like, oh, he'll put that in there.
Yeah. Okay, so here's
3 reasons.
3 reasons why I think you should write a warrior ethos. Okay.
In a battle space?
In the battle space. If you do not view, then none of this is going to make any sense. So if I have not already convinced you that Christians are in a battle space.
Spiritual warfare room.
Go back and listen to episode 85.
Yeah, good.
I keep referencing back to this, but I looked over those notes again and I was like, oh, this is really good stuff. Like, but I'm not going to take the time to go over all this again. So if you're not convinced yet, press pause, go listen to episode 85. And if you're still not convinced, that's fine. But I think every Christian should be thinking through this stuff. Because where you work, your home, your neighborhood, like the enemy is seeking to devour you. He's seeking to attack you. He's seeking to ruin you. The enemy is seeking to keep the kingdom of God from taking place. That is the battle space. So in any battle space, so just like we want our warriors, like I'm in the military, just like we want our warriors to have a very clear ethic, a very clear ethos to the way they live. Why? Because we have given them immense power with a tremendous responsibility to be on the front line of protecting our way of life. Okay, that's our role within God's kingdom.
Yeah.
And if that's fuzzy to you, you need to sit down and reread the Gospels. You need to sit down and reread the book of Acts. You need to sit down and reread some of the epistles to kind of go like, oh, this is a way of living. And my decisions need to be like in alignment with that way of living. Okay, so in the battle space, here's what an ethos does. 1, it keeps identity from dissolving under pressure. So you know who you are regardless of the pressure that's coming your way. Second, it fortifies direction amidst the chaos. Like, this is where I need to go. This is what I need to be about. This is the authority I have to walk with that, right? Because my ethos is rooted in those beliefs and value systems. Yeah. I have authority, right? Not because the Navy's given me authority, not because my denomination ordained me to have authority,
not because your mom told you you had
authority. Not because my mom tells me I have authority because of the work of Christ within me. Yeah. Now, the Navy has affirmed that. My denomination has affirmed that, right? My family affirms that. That's all great. But they are not the source of that authority. Right. God is the source of that authority. And when I walk within that, and not in an arrogant way, and not like, you're going to listen to me and all, no, but I'm going to walk within that. It's because I have this fortified sense of this is the way I need to be living my life. This is the direction I need to be living with. Okay, the third thing is that in this battle space, an ethos clarifies the relational connections that are worth fighting for. So I know where my relational boundaries need to be and how I need to manage those things well.
And your priorities and your convictions, like everything's in order.
Yeah.
Despite everything. Because like sometimes you'll be in a really great season with really great people that like support you, but then the minute the season turns bad, people will leave you. And your hope and trust should not be on affirmation based on other people.
Yeah.
Because those will come and go.
Yeah. And the reality is you may feel there's some people in my life that I sense a greater relational responsibility to than they feel towards me. Because what the Lord has put upon my heart for them. Like I pray for them. I think of them. I reach out to them. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. And they may go like, why are you doing all this? I'm like, because I don't get into all of the reasons why, right? But it's like, because I have a values and belief system that's going to pay attention to who are those relationships that the Lord has brought into my life. Again, those 10,000 people over the course of our life that the Lord has brought into your life to impact for his kingdom. So I'm going to clarify where the boundary. Now, those boundaries need to be healthy, right? Like the boundaries I have with you and your brother are different than the boundaries I have with your mom, that are different than the boundaries I have with our neighbors, that are different. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm going to set those boundaries in the appropriate places so that the relationship can function in a healthy way. But I'm going to do it in a way that also brings a lot of clarity what is worth fighting for.
Yeah.
Because you know this, like we don't need to go into the details, but like there's something you're trying to get accomplished in your academic world right now, and you're receiving some friction. And I told you, hey,
if I need to send in the big guns,
I will go in and have a conversation, right, with some folks. Why? Because I'm angry, because I'm mad.
Yeah, totally. I'm just kidding.
No, because
there's a level of, Well,
it's because you're my daughter, right? I'm not doing that for somebody else's daughter.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm not doing that for somebody else's, friend. I'm doing that for you. Not to say I wouldn't, but I would want a lot more information before I entered into that. Yeah. Right? I know what you've been trying to accomplish. I know. Does that make sense? So I know, hey, if I need to go have a hard conversation with some folks, I will go have a hard conversation with some folks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ingredients.
Okay. So when I do this training with folks, I go, this is what I want you to think about. Because some people can be overwhelmed by this. They can go like, man, this feels like a lot of stuff. I feel like there's a lot of thinking I'm going to have to do this, which is
true.
You need to give some good thought to this. But one way to think about this is like, think of your soul. It's like we're just going into the pantry of your soul. There are good ingredients in here that the Lord has put in here that we can access. And we're going to pull out those ingredients and we're going to combine them in a way that you end up with an ethos on the other side, right? So I don't have to go invent stuff. I don't have to go pull something else off of somebody else's shelf. I don't have to make anything up. Like we're just going into we're taking inventory of what's already within us. We're going to pull those out of the pantry of my soul to cultivate this warrior ethos. So those things are, you want to walk through this?
Identity.
Okay.
So those are like, who are you? Is it something that you embrace because someone else told you? Or is it something that you found because God revealed it to you? And if you don't know, ask God. Because God has a plan and a direction and things that he wants to hand into you for you to steward.
Yeah. And if you're fuzzing on what identity is, we did a couple of podcasts on that.
We did.
On identity.
We did a lot. That was like our first series. It was on identity.
Did we do 4 episodes? We did 4 episodes on that, didn't we?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Way back then. Don't judge us because we've come I have friends. We have friends that are like, we started listening to your podcast. And I started episode 1. And I was like, why would you do that? Like, we were just getting started. I was like petrified.
I was thinking we should maybe go back and redo some of these.
Yeah, because I think we had like some good meat, but it was just like...
Yeah.
Now we have it kind of down.
The funny thing is we may look at these episodes and go, oh my gosh. Okay, anyway, so identity. Identity is shaped through victories, failures, commitments to purpose.
And I think also identity could also be... not living your life through like judgment of other people, but looking at other people's lives and actions of like what not to do.
Oh yeah,
does that
especially
make sense? Experiences.
Do this with your family.
Yeah.
I mean, look at your
family
your
tree.
immediate and your extended family and go like, okay, what is here that's really good that needs to shape who I am, whether I want it to or not, right? That needs to shape who I am. And then what is here that I go like, okay, that's in our family tree. Like, what am I going to do with this? How does that need to inform my identity?
What patterns do I see? Like if this is something someone did and then it passed on to the next generation or was in the same generation.
For good or ill.
Or ill, yeah. Like what do I do? What do I need to keep doing? Or what do I need to stop doing? Or what do I need to start doing?
Yeah. Okay, so that's the first ingredient.
Yeah.
Who are you? Your sense of identity and mapping that out. Okay, the second thing is, and again, we're going to walk you through a bunch of steps. So, and if you go to the page, show notes, you'll see all this information.
2.
Second thing.
Relationships. Whom or what or who do you fight for? And relationships define the sacred trust of your service, which could be your friends, it could be your family, it could be your nation, it could be your faith, whatever that looks like.
What are you willing to get up the couch and do something about?
Yeah.
Or cash in a lot of trust. I remember I was on I was at a command. I won't say where. And it was Ash Wednesday. And sailors were walking around with the sign of the cross on their foreheads because they had been doing Ash Wednesday service. Yeah. And some other sailors were making fun of those that had ash on their foreheads. And they were like, there was a particular shop and they kind of ganged up on this guy and they were calling him Ash Boy. And the sailor never said anything, but somebody witnessed it. And then brought it to my attention. They're like, hey, by the way, you know so-and-so? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, they're in the shop and they're calling him Ash Boy. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah. And so I went to go deal with it. And then somebody else stopped me in the hallway and they said, hey, just FYI, there's this shop and some folks were making fun of the people that had been to Ash Wednesday, sir, because they had the ash on their forehead. And they're like, what, are you a Jesus person now? And they were like really hounding him. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go take care of it. I said, what's the name of the shop? And they said, it's this. And it is a different shop. So now I'm like, oh, we don't have one problem.
We have 2.
We have 2 problems. I went from like mildly annoyed to like fiercely angry. And so I went back to my office. I sat down and I typed out this response. Like, here is today you're going to notice that people have ash on their foreheads. And I articulated, and if you have any, please practice. If you have questions about this, feel free to ask the people about this. But any derogatory or inappropriate remarks regarding this will be dealt with by your chain of command. If you have any further questions, feel free to seek me out. Chaplain Milo Curtis. I mean, it was like, so I brought that statement over to my executive officer. And I said, sir, I told him what was going on. I said, this is the response I'd like to read. And he leaned back and he's like, ooh, this is a little hot. And I was like, yeah, it's a little hot. I'm hot. And he goes, well, why don't we tone it down a little bit? So I took his advice, and there was a little bit more diplomatic way I could go about doing some stuff. So I tempered a bit. But then that message was shared throughout the command. Everybody got access to that message, and I received confirmation it was heard throughout the command. And we had no more problems after that. My point is, I am willing to get off the couch. Like when I found out about that, when I thought it was one problem, I said, okay, we can go deal with it. And I knew the shop, and that doesn't really surprise me, because we have some issues going on there. But then when I heard it was happening throughout other places, I was like, nope, we are not doing this.
And we're not going to tolerate that.
Yeah.
And we're not going to like brush it under the rug and it's like, well, it's just like a one-time thing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, you may be looking at this and going, geez, chaps, like dial it back. Got it. You're not called to have that fight. This is not your fight. No. This is the fight God's put upon my heart. Does this make sense?
And like, like if you have like placed your trust in God and you are in a place and there is either like kind of like that, where it's like this, it's not persecution, but it feels like persecution, or like people are making remarks and it like boils your soul. Like, you know that feeling?
It's an injustice, right?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of injustices, but there are some injustices that within us, like something is lit on fire, right? Yeah. But it's not not everybody can carry all of that. Mm-hmm. So the Lord has equipped the things you need to be on fire for are going to be different than the things. Yeah. There'll probably be some similarities because we're family and, carry.
Okay, I have a podcast.
Right. We, there's that kind of stuff. But like, you may go like, that's just not anything I'd get fired up about. Got it. But what are those things? Mm-hmm. What are those things you're willing to get up and fight for? Okay. Third, these are the ingredients, right? So your identity, your relationships, for whom or what are you willing to fight for? Okay, the third.
Yeah, beliefs and values. So what virtues guide you in conflict? Is it strict? Are you strictly acting based on how it makes you feel? Or are you actually grounded in truth that you are willing to confront and fight against? And I feel like a lot of people can have that feeling, but they don't know what to say. Or they don't know like how to debate or have a rebuttal. Or if they say this, I don't know what I'm going to say after that.
You don't even have to get into all that, right? Like, what are those beliefs and values? Not that you have to give a defense for them, right? That's not what we're talking about. And when you download the workbook we've put together for this, you're going to see a massive list. And this is not an exhaustive list, but a list of values and not beliefs so much, but like a list of values and virtues to kind of draw from. And we got everything from foundational virtues to leadership virtues, values that are around team and service. Like I think there's a list of over 100 things that you can look at as a way to sort of generate some ideas around this stuff. Okay. That's in one of the steps. We're going to get into that here in just a bit, but okay. What are your beliefs and values? And then fourth
is legacy.
Yeah.
Like, what are you building or contributing to?
Yeah. And one way to think about an ethos is as you're crafting this, we all have a tendency to want to think about resume.
This is what I've done. This is what I do. This is where I work.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's why I'm qualified.
Yeah, I got this award. I got this promotion.
Yeah. We're not talking resume. We're talking
character.
We're talking obituary. Like, what are those things you want people to say about you when you're dead?
Yeah.
What do you want your children to say? And you're like, chaps, I don't have kids. Okay, but if you had kids, who do you want to be up until you have kids? What do you want to be about? What direction do you want to be living your life so that when you come to the end of it, whether you're young or old, people can say they were that kind of person. I can tell, and it grieves my heart. It genuinely grieves my heart. I've done, I don't know how many funerals and memorial services now, but I can tell when someone lived their life in a manner that they were not thinking legacy, because the things people say about them are desperately shallow. And it's consumeristic, and it's about, just silly, stupid stuff that has no eternal impact. And that's in contrast to, you go to some services and it's like, look at the profound impact this person had on the lives of those that they were in connection with. Like, think about those 10,000 people. What kind of legacy do you want to leave with them? Like, this is stuff we're thinking about.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you have to wake up every morning and think about it with this level of intensity, but I do think you need to have mapped it out so that you can look over the course of a year and go like, am I doing that better this year than I did last year? Was there growth? Was there progress? Is that root system deeper? Is the trunk a little bit wider? Are the branches stronger? Is the fruit more abundant? Does this make sense? Okay. I get super, I love this stuff.
He used this up. You can tell I did not make the notes for this.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm just like, yeah. Okay, cool.
Well, you do that with your episodes.
I do. And then I'm like, ah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What keeps us? So if that's everything we should be doing, ingredients that feed this ethos and you're getting your priorities, you're setting your not expectations, but you know your virtues, you know what you're grounded in. You make this list. What could possibly keep us from doing that? 1.
I love how Olivia's like reading these notes. She's deeply internalized all this.
1, busyness and things that distract us and things that occupy our attention.
Yeah. I'll do this at the new year.
Right.
Uh-huh. Sure you will.
Right. You did that last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Kathy or whoever.
Kathy.
I don't know.
Kathy that listens to the podcast.
I know. I didn't mean.
We're not talking about you, Kathy.
We're not talking about. I don't have any.
Are we?
That's the first name that
She's
came
a
to
good friend. I can do that with her.
Yeah. Right.
No, I think. I mean, so just FYI, we do 50 episodes a year. So the last like week and a half of I think the last Tuesday of the year, we're not doing a podcast this year, which is this would actually make a lot of sense to do as a like end of the year reflection and setting up your new year. In fact, I highly suggest you do this instead of your New Year's resolution. Mm-hmm. However, I suggest starting to work on this now.
Yeah.
So you think about these things and maybe you lock it in for the new year. Having said that, though, busyness.
Yeah. And things that distract us from doing work that
isn't seen.
Yeah.
It's hard to do work that is buried.
And I think it's hard to see, like, you really, I mean, think of a tree. Like, it takes a really long time for it to get to a level of growth where it bears fruit. And it's just consistency and perseverance and intentionality that comes with that takes a long period of time. It's not like from one day I'm going to be like this person, the next day I'm going to be like such a great high person that, you know, learns how to do all of these things overnight. Like, these are things that are worked through, and you have to go through seasons with them. You have to test them. Mm-hmm. God's going to test you. People are going to test you. And that will determine if you're going to keep growing or you're not.
Yeah.
And don't get comfortable with it. You might be like, I've already mastered it. What new thing can I continue? Like, where can I then direct my attention to now? And it's like, well, there's this level of you got to keep growing it.
Yeah.
You got to keep bearing good fruit. You can't let it just.
Well, I did a good job last year. It'll be fine.
I'm already familiar with that.
Yeah. Okay. So one reason why we don't do this is busyness.
2.
Olivia, tell us.
The demand of moral clarity can be intimidating, and it causes us to like sit down and deal with it, and it can kind of get frustrating. And
I think when you commit to really doing this process,
yeah,
you'll realize how much you're going to have to grow. Mm-hmm. Because that moral clarity is like, I am not doing this. I know I should be. I know these should be my priorities. I know this should be my identity. I know this is what healthy relationships need to look like. I know this needs to be the direction. Mm-hmm. This is the legacy I need to be leaving with my life.
That isn't fuzzy to you.
Yeah. I know these should be my guiding beliefs and values. Mm-hmm. It's not, this is a process that's going to bring clarity to all of that. Mm-hmm. And that can be, that moral clarity can be intimidating. It's sort of like, it's like yesterday I was looking for, we're doing some painting around the house and we had these paint swatches and I was like, hey, I can't find the paint swatches. And Bethany goes, did you check the junk drawer? To which my response was, no, because I thought they might be in there, but if I don't have to look through the junk drawer, I don't want to look through the junk drawer. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's a reason why there's a drawer for that.
Yeah. And we all know what kind of junk, and our junk drawer drives me bananas. But everybody has a junk drawer. Mm-hmm. My thing is like, I think a lot of people, these things have become the junk drawer. Mm-hmm. They just, I know I need to do it. I know I need this, but I'm going to grab that. I'm going to grab these notes, but I'm going to think about this later. Mm-hmm. And opening that up, it's like, okay, there's some work here that has to be done. Yeah. Okay. 3rd.
That's good. Fear of exposing the inconsistencies between belief and behaviors. Kind of like what you're talking about. Like, these things. You know what you should be doing. Yeah. You know what things you need to like take responsibility for. But do your behaviors match that expectation that is clear to you? And I guess like also just like the fruits are the things that other people see. And that's the perception that they have of you. And not that you should do this so that you can have you can be this great person that everyone thinks so highly of you. Like, you want that, but that shouldn't be the motivator of you shouldn't do this so that you can just be like this great person other people see. You're doing this because you know you have a responsibility to God, and you are rooted in God to be like the hands and feet of Christ. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You're going to stand before the Lord someday.
Yeah. And you're going to
give an account for your life.
Yeah.
He's not going to go, well, I know you believed really well, but you jacked it up everything else in your life. He's going to go, do I know you? Yeah. Do you know me? Right? And my beliefs, James talks about faith without works is dead. You can believe all this stuff, but if it's not producing anything of value for the kingdom, then I'm not entirely convinced you believe these things. He says, show me, I'll show you my works or my faith by my works. Like, I'm not just going to sit around and talk about these things or hail these things. I'm going to demonstrate these things. Okay. Writing your ethos. Yeah. All right. Here's some things that some people may can't do. Why do I have to write this out?
And I think writing it out gives where you're at, so that the next year you can read over it and see what you were thinking, because we forget what we were thinking. I don't even remember what I was thinking when I was in 6th grade, except for the diary that I, don't have.
Well, it's a, why don't you have that? I feel like you just kind of blew over that.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh, did you destroy it or something?
Maybe.
No.
Anyway,
I feel like I should push into that, but not while we were recording. Okay, so years ago I read that Ben Franklin said the palest ink is better than the sharpest mind. Like, writing something down, even if it's barely visible, is a better capture tool than your brain. Okay, so writing forces you to move from vague intentions into visible commitments. Writing forces you to link your identity with your habits, because you'll write it down and you'll go, ooh, do I have that gut check? Is this true of me? Is this what I want to be, to reflect the habits of my life? Writing invites the world to hold you accountable, because what I encourage people to do is write out your ethos and then post it for other people to see. And if you're in a leadership position, you can look at people and say, this is what I need to be about. I need you to tell me if I'm doing this or if I'm failing at this. I want that kind of external feedback. I might not always agree with it, and there may be other things going on that a person might have a full view of. Got it. But I'm letting the world know this is what I need to, what I want to be held accountable to. And then writing solidifies the legacy you want to build by living a moral life. So it's grounding it and going, this is something I want to be able to pass on to others. It's and we've, it's funny when I was going through this, because we've sort of done that as a family. I didn't realize that's what we were doing as a family, but our whole connect, equip, worship, serve, having Christ as our, this is all ethos language, right? These are the beliefs we're going to order our life by. Okay. So how do you do this?
We finally made it.
Jeez, Milo, got it, man. You guys what do I do now?
1.
We'll tell you. Here we go.
Reflect on what shaped you.
Step 1.
Reflect.
Yeah. So if you download the workbook, and we'll wait. Go ahead. resilientsoul.com. Yep. There you go. This resilientsoul.com. You see the episode right there? Yeah. That one. Yeah. Just click that. And then you're going to see a download button. You see the download. There it is right there. Okay. Click the download. We have a workbook. You can walk through all these steps. So this is something to print off. And I suggest printing it off and writing this stuff out, getting very analog with this. This is not a typing thing. This is a writing thing, because there's something different in our brains when we write this
I feel like
out.
It does something, to your brain and the way you think.
So step 1, you're going to reflect on what shaped you. So this is where you're going to reflect on those moments of success, failure, the crossroads in your life, what was formed within you through that process, right? So
and then currently what you're going through. Write out the struggles that you're wrestling with.
Yeah, could today. But this is like looking back over the whole of your life, right?
Yeah.
So everything from like I would write out, and it may be obvious to me, and all of these things are going to be initially obvious to you because we're getting into the interior of your soul that you're familiar with. So like when I wrote mine out, I was like, okay, I was raised by 2 loving parents. Is that insignificant? No, because not everybody has that, right? So it's significant I had 2 loving parents. It's significant my parents raised me in the church. It's significant that my parents raised me in private Christian schools. It's significant that, do you know what I mean? That I moved from Oregon to Kentucky to go to college. It's significant that my dad was in construction. So I was raised in an industry where I was, learning a trade. These are significant moments in my life, right? And then you walk through that narrative. What are those beats? What are those kind of milestone moments that shaped who you are? I met your mom, then first church, and I could go on and on and on and on. But what's your journey? What's that story? So reflect on those moments, those critical moments that they shaped you. Again, they may be in the distant past, but you realize that these were significant moments in your life. And the question isn't, do other people think of these are significant? That's not the question. The question is, how have these shaped you? Okay, second step.
Articulate what you'll fight for.
Yeah, and we talked about this.
What are you going to get off the couch for?
Yep. What are those things that you're willing to make some sacrifices for? You're willing, I'm willing to cash in some trust. I'm willing to lose some sleep. I'm willing to give up time. I'm willing to spend some money. I'm willing to, whatever it is, what are those things that you're willing to fight for? Okay. Third.
List your values. Choose what virtues that you will abide by.
Yeah, and we have that huge list. If you have the workbook in front of you, you're going to notice that we have over 100 things you can choose from, and that's just a scratching the surface. Yeah. This is where you're going to kind of start highlighting those things. Okay. Next,
map spiritual connections.
Yep.
Align what you'll fight for with self and greater good and God.
Yep.
Yeah.
So self, greater good, and God.
This isn't This is for you to have a lasting impact from what God's called you to do so that you can go out and have an impact on other people. That is how we were made to live, is in communion with other people. And we have been equipped with the people that are in our community on purpose.
Pulling something up here because I want to make sure I'm articulating this well. So when you articulate those connections, what you're going to make sure, so we say self, greater good, and God. What we're talking about is self is your relationship with yourself. Yeah. What values are displayed in those relationships, right? And then greater good, for me, that would be you. You'd be part of that greater good. Your mom, your brother, my family, some really close friends, who, we're not talking about all 10,000 people, but who are those people that, are critical to you understanding who you are and shaping that identity and helping impact what you're willing to fight for. And then the Lord, right? What does that relationship with him need to look like? What are the values that are displayed in that relationship? Obedience, honor, respect, love, holiness, those kind of, whatever they are, right? I'm going to align those things. So you're going to write out Okay. Yeah. And then next.
5.
Yeah.
Clarify your desired destination. Where do you want to be in a year? Where do you want to be in 2 months? Yeah. Where do you want to be known as an honest person or a person of integrity or a trustworthy person that people can come to whenever? What kind of person do you want to be within a specific measured period of time?
And you're going to do that as it relates to those 3 relational directions, right? So with yourself, where do I want to be with myself? Where do I want to be with others? And then where do I want to be with the Lord? And in some ways, pray through this. Yeah. Because some of this is less of what's the good idea fairy saying? What is the Holy Spirit saying? How is he leading me in this? And how do I need to be thinking through this in a manner that will honor him? What is he wanting to do in me that I need to be paying attention to? What is he wanting to do in my relationship with others? And then what is he wanting to do between him and me that I need to lock in? I need to solidify. So this is something that should cultivate tremendous amount of intimacy in your walk with the Lord. Yeah. If you press into that. Okay, next.
Craft a warrior philosophy. So you need to articulate a personal I am statement and an I will statement for each connection.
Yeah. So as it relates to yourself, I am
blank.
Yeah. Right. So like for me, I am a preacher. Mm-hmm. Therefore, I will find those opportunities to preach. Right. Or discover the opportunities that the Lord has for me to preach. In some ways, the podcast is this, right? Kind of felt like the Lord is using this for me to be able to do that. I am a father. Therefore, I need to be, checking in on the needs of my children or whatever it is. Like I am in those I wills, right? So with self, with others, and then with our Lord.
Yeah. And then last, you need to write a warrior ethos.
Yeah. So what you do is you summarize all that stuff. So you look at your I am and I will statements, and you look at all those values that help shape all of that kind of stuff, and you pull it all together. Now, if this sounds confusing, like if you're like me, I'm the type of guy that's just going to jump to step 7 and try to map this out. Don't do that. The amount of people, like I said, I've trained over 500 folks in this thing. And everybody I've talked with says, oh, I started at the end, but then I realized, let me work the steps. And then as I worked the steps, it made the last step super easy. Still work, but it made it easier because I had all of these ingredients out on the table. Does this make sense? So you're going to want to do that final step after you've done the previous 6, because the 6 get everything, kind of the raw ingredients out on the table for you to be able to craft this statement. Again, if you want that feedback, feel free to reach out.
Yep.
Okay. What else have we got? Is that it? Are we done?
So done.
What do you think?
It was so good.
Yeah?
It was better than I thought it was going to be. Because I was like, I'm going to read through this. And then I was like, I kind of need to say this. So I brought the cat in my room and I spoke to the cat. And I was like, okay, this is the direction it's going to go.
Is that what you did?
That's what I do.
That was your preparation?
Yeah.
Good.
And then, cool.
Okay, so we want to support you in this endeavor, but we need to know how to reach out to you. So a great way to do that is to sign up for our newsletter. You can do that by visiting thisresilientsoul.com. You'll see a place to sign up for the newsletter. By doing that, you're going to get the weekly email that highlights what we talk about in the episode coming out that week, as well as previous episodes, anything else we got going on in the life of our family or in the life of the podcast. We would love to be able to be in touch with you about that. That's going to be the email you're going to get back to me on if you want to be coached around your warrior ethos. I'd love to be able to do that. So reach out to us that way. What else can they do?
You can follow, share, and review this podcast
can
on whatever.
Follow what? What'd you say?
Share, rate,
share, review. Oh, I thought you said something
follow
else. Okay.
This podcast.
All right.
Did you think I said something bad?
I thought she swore.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
No, just kidding. No, let me not joke about that. You can, on whatever platform you're currently listening on, if you haven't left a review, leave it.
Oh, that'd be so good.
We would love that. Or just hit that little star thing to get traction rolling so we can share this with other people. And they can be a part of the Resilient Lineage peeps.
Yeah.
We have socials.
We got socials. If you're not signed up for the newsletter, sign up for the newsletter. Follow us on all these different platforms. Review it. We've seen our numbers go up a little bit recently. We'd love for that to continue to happening. And that's going to happen because of people like you, friends like yours, us. Friends like you who are supporting us and helping get the word out. So we appreciate you guys and we pray that you go with God.
And be at peace.